It's the last day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the North American EPL relegation event. We've come down to our final decider event. One of the two available slots was already claimed yesterday by Enigma 6. They shot all the way through the upper bracket, got the first easier slot. Now we have the more difficult one, as it is going to come down to Ghost Gaming taking on Rush for the final slot in Season 6 of the EPL. Joining me once again today is Bach. Bach, what do we make of this last match here in the relegation tournament?
Well, I mean, Ghost didn't really get a chance to practice yesterday, as they had a forfeit win over the Foundation, who couldn't field that five-man roster in time for their match, which I know is a bit frustrating because given the time of year, there's not really a lot of teams trying to train and practice, so it's hard to find someone that's willing to scrim against you, at least for the likes of Ghost Gaming, that is. So they were looking at last night as a chance to kind of just, warm up, dust off the cobwebs, as they are coming off of a LAN, and they're still dealing with jet lag to a certain degree. But looking at the map pool in general right now, I gotta give a slight edge to Ghost Gaming. Rush really struggled on some of these maps. I'm kind of curious as to why they picked the one that they did, but I guess we'll see if they have something up their sleeves.
Yeah, and now we are going live into it. It would appear Ghost will start off on the T side, and for Rush, they're going to be jumping over to the CT side now. So let's get into it and take a look at who's going to be able to get the advantage to start off our first map here. Of course, guys, once again, it is a full best of 3, so it's not just going to be the one map. It will come down to the full set to determine who ends up getting that slot there. But afterwards, that's it. This is the last chance here for both of these teams. Rush trying to preserve their slot, and for Ghost Gaming trying to take it and move up from Premier / the Mountain Dew League.
Look at this play right now from Rush. 3 players pushing Ivy already. Right off the bat, heartbeat, that would be Connor. He's got to be careful as they've left Toy here. He's stranded, though, as the rest of the team falls back. This gives Rush a decent amount of information. They didn't see much other than Connor in this spot. Oh, Connor, you got to be careful. Trying to throw the smoke. He doesn't even have the time to, so he's going to hold on to that one as he's sort of set up right now with a smoke for this A site. Instead, he's going to heave one out from T-Connector, going for a bit of an audible on the play. And he chucks a flashbang out as well, but it's a bit of a decoy right now. Most of the team is actually in the box halls working towards this B bomb site, and there's the smoke down. Silent is trying to find a shot through it, but he's unable to line it up. So that will be the site controlled by the T side, and there's a kill finally coming in for Connor. But the bomb's down, planted in the B site. Hot on his heels is going to be Toy working in from T-Connector, but he doesn't get there in time. It's a 3-man retake in the site with Toy trying to get there just in time. Seb, though, played up aggressively towards the yellow train. That's a quick 1-2 punch for him. Make it a third. No, it's actually going to be Neptune who finishes off that last player. All 5 players survive with a pistol. A pretty decent play from Ghost. That interesting aggression from Rush early on didn't really work out for them.
Yeah, and overall, Ghost just crushed their way through that first pistol round, and they're immediately going to go for AKs here, too. Look at this. No screwing around with SMGs or umps for the most part here. It's 4 AKs, and B just goes for a MAC-10 purchase, so they're going to be in really good strides. Meanwhile, over on the Rush side, they're actually going to be pretty lightly invested. No one buying up armor behind their pistols for the most part. We have a few Deagles in the play there, which are a little bit more heavily bought, but for the most part, you are still looking at pretty light investments, which does still align with what Rush have wanted to do. They've been a very passively bought team, even though they tend to be the underdog in a lot of these matchups.
Just the pistols here. Deagles for 2, 5.7 for 1, P250s for Akis and Silent. Just really flexing the might of the various pistols in CSGO. Blade's playing at the bottom of ladder where a flash has already landed. He's turning away from another one. He's still here, holding his ground, waiting for a body to land in that area. The nade comes down, does scratching damage, drops him down to 98. Akis is in that off angle on top of the pop dog train, but he's got to be careful as Connor is inching his way out from upper as well. There's the smoke. The flashbang's coming as well. The molly is there. Akis struggles to kill that first target, and as a result, he will fall. Silent falls back now, and he's positioned himself on the sidewalk, trying to use the smoke for cover, but it's not really going to do him a whole lot of good once Seb pushes up into the site a bit further, and this should be an easy round for them to close out. Ruru left with just a deagle. At this point, you almost say, just save it. But he's going to hang back here and see if he can get at least an exit kill, maybe take one of these rifles out of their hands.
Yeah, just sitting here. I highly doubt he's even going to push it further into the hallway, really just hoping for a lucky peek where he can pick up someone's head. Had a few chances at it there, but never actually pulled the trigger, so B is going to swing in there. Finally get a kill with that MAC-10 and shut things down, bring it up 2-0 for Ghost. Can expect a probably very similar buy for Rush going into this third round now.
Yeah, this is something you gotta kind of applaud to a certain degree, as a team being a little bit more careful depending on the map with their money. You know, economic control as on the CT side of train is really important. Having all that utility is crucial to defending your sites. So I like the fact that Rush didn't go too heavy with the pistol buy in the second, and here they basically just buy an 8 and a flash, and it's USPs and P2Ks for the rest. It'll give them so much cash to work with once that fourth round does come through. So it really should be just easy peasy here for Ghost, as there's a bunch of armorless opponents, and even Wardell getting in on the action here with the rifle as he picks one off from T-Connector. That was Akis back by the train stop. He's still got an AK in hand, and he's looking for more blood, and there's plenty to spill on this A site. Everyone from Rush is stacked up here.
Yeah, and Rush, for the most part, is getting pretty much destroyed. Already 4 kills in the way of Ghost. So Silent just trying to hold inside of this corner, but he doesn't get anything done either. It's a clean sweep, 3-0 to start from Ghost. But with Rush saving as much as they did, well, they're not going to have the usually kind of reduced full buy for the first gun round that you often see for the CTs. They're actually going to be able to get full utility and whatnot. And for Silent, he's going to get the op behind the armor buy as well. So he's going to have that going for him. Obviously, one over utility is the money's still a little bit limited in that regard, but at the very least, they have that big gun, and everybody else is fully bought into this. So they have a pretty good setup for the first gun round.
Yeah, Silent holding on to that op. We'll see what he's able to do. Train, obviously, a map where the op can be a dynamic piece of your defense, but he's been flashed and smoked out of position right off the bat. He was trying to hold the peek from T-Con. Ouch, it's going to sting. The nade lands right in his lap, puts him at 53, and he's lost his teammates on the side. He's got to be careful playing with this smoke. There's a molly on the other side, and there's a crack to the right as well. It's an easy kill for Neptune, and it comes down to just Akis, just like that. It's one man left alive here for Rush, and there's just too many bodies all around. Wardell is still in T-Connector. Just really well played from Ghost. Just a decent execute towards the site, not really giving Rush a chance to do much of anything.
Rush don't even get a chance really to save in that circumstance there. They just get absolutely run over by Ghost. So really well played by them. Certainly looking strong. And, you know, to start off again on the T side, this is a very CT-sided map, of course, for those that don't already realize that. So this is going to be looking great for Ghost to already stack up these first 4 rounds, basically flawlessly, losing a few players, of course. But for the T side, this is still going to lead to good money buildup. And overall, they can carry this trend through, getting up to like 6 or 7 before Rush even respawn. Even if Rush went out at that point forward, that's still a good half for Ghost. This round, Rush did try to nade stack, didn't really align too well, as you can see. Basically 0 damage being done to Ghost here, and already their players falling down. Neptune, Wardell killing one with his own nade against Toy there, so the plan kind of backfires, and they get a little bit of a taste of their own medicine. But these last 2, they are going to try to flank back through the back halls over towards either the ramp or the ladder room. But in all reality, there's not a whole lot that they can realistically do. And like I was saying before, this should be a relatively easy 5th round now for Ghost.
Akis is just kind of holding his ground right now at the top of the ladder, hoping for an exit kill with the USP. I mean, aim punch at this close, good luck, but Silent's done some decent damage there. He might be able to get himself an AK. Just kidding. Too many players already charging towards that position. It's really just Akis looking for a gun, trying to scrounge up something. He knows there's at least one down in T-Connector, but he drops down ladder, and now he gets spotted. It's an easy round for Ghost to close out. Now, just a reminder, too, to everyone, last season, we saw all 3 Premier incumbents qualify for the Pro League. And this could be the 2nd season in a row where we see that happen, where 3 teams move up from Premier and 3 Pro Leagues move down.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing is, you know, with the exception of, I think it was LG, right, last season that managed to move up?
LG, TSM, which is now Misfits, and Rush.
Yeah, so I mean, the other two had some really good strides. You know, Misfits, TSM and LG were both trying to earn that spot for a long time. But for the one team that really kind of grinded their way through the rankings and whatnot, and that was Rush. We really didn't see all that impressive of a season for them. So we have to hope now that if Ghost does end up just kind of trouncing Rush here and takes control of a fast slot in EPL, that they are able to fare a little bit better. As that has often been the tale for these usual like ESEA move up teams. They just haven't been able to hold the line. They're doing a lot better in this gun round though. So brought it down to a 3v2 now. B sniping off that additional kill against Silent keeps the dream alive for Ghost, and Wardell also finds one. So now it's down to Akis, creeping out from Z, trying to wrap himself up, mainly prioritizing on the bomb site itself, but Ghost have fallen back. That could be a trap, though, as it could just lead Akis into being in the open for when they re-execute out, but it does seem as though Ghost are kind of falling back inside of T-Con and now just holding this off to run the clock down a little bit.
And they've got so much time to work with here. Akis is going to be left scratching his head, wondering where they've gone to. So he's going to have to make up a decision. Does he want to stick around on this A site? Does he want to gamble and rotate over towards B, being as he hasn't seen anything in a while? Oh, I think he just saw the barrel of Wardell's up. Or did he? It looked like he saw it through the edge of the wall there, but he didn't seem to react at all. And, oh yeah, there's no way he saw it. The way he's approaching this one, it's hard to say that he did. But even still, it's just, you don't know. Rounding the corner, he's got two players looking the opposite direction. That's going to be an easy lineup there for Akis. So maybe he did. I don't know. It's hard to say. The way he reacted initially, he looked right at it, and then he kind of did a double take, and then looked like he was going to peek towards ladder. But in the end, he does round towards Olaf and lines up two pretty easy kills on players that weren't even expecting it.
Yeah, so smooth shutdown. We do end up seeing Rush finally able to pick up a round for themselves, but that doesn't mean they're out of hot water just yet. Ghost still into a full buy. And for Rush themselves, they obviously still lost 4 players, as Sam often says when I'm casting with him. Ghost lose the round, but they lose it in the best possible way. As now Rush themselves are going to be down with pretty much a minimal buy and will be completely broken if they end up dropping this one. And already, Seb moves in, starts himself off with a quick kill against Blade, and Neptune follows it up with one as well.
And it's back to that working, fast A play that we just saw them do, what was it, the first buy round where they just obliterated that A side defense. So now it's Akis and Silent trying to figure out the audible for this play. How do we try and recover from this one? It's a 2 versus 4. The bomb's touching pay dirt. Is it just going to be a save? I would say so. With the way your money's stacking up, if you're Rush, you couldn't afford to give this round away. You had lost way too many bodies in the previous round with the way that Akis just clutched it out with just, being the last man alive. So it's back to eco reset territory. How will this impact them in the next round? Having this one gun in the op, it's not really going to give them much of anything outside of that. So it should be 3 pistols surrounding the guns.
Now, Heartbeat being able to snipe out one more leaves only Silent alive to try and save. He does hit the kill onto B, keeping him up for right now. The problem is he has 2 players still pushing into him. He knows that Heartbeat's moving in. Still, Heartbeat doesn't really seem to care. They're just rushing right in. He knows he's hiding out in this room somewhere, but oh, a nice no-scope from Silent. Keeps him alive, and that should be good for the end of the round, as no one else is going to be close enough to try and drop him.
So, they hold on to the op, and they're going to buy up armor around it. Akis has a little bit more money. No reason to not go up with the ump, given the fact that everyone else is buying down to next to nothing. Just balance out the economy as best as possible. We'll see if that op is going to be that, magical solution here for Rush. We've seen just how important one gun can be, and it's already done a pretty decent amount of damage. Right off the bat, B gets tagged trying to make it through T-Con. However, it's a B play right now where they've got Akis playing right on the other side of the smoke. He hasn't actually managed to get hit here. He's done damage but dodged the bullets. His teammate Blade does get ripped apart. That nade's going to land right in his face. Well, look at the health right now. The collective health for Ghost is not looking good. Wardell's the only one still at 100 HP. As they try to figure out which direction they want to work this one in with all these damaged up teammates. We do see Wardell dropping down in ladder with his op. Meanwhile, Connor's repositioned in T-connector, so it's looking like they're giving up that B bomb site and they're going to work back towards A, potentially. But they still have that flex play towards B, as the only player really committed to that area is going to be Connor. Wardell's playing ladder and he picks off Toy. So now they might be pulling those players from B up and into their faces, and that's exactly what happens as Akis looks the other direction just before the barrel comes around the corner. Ruru's in the sight with a CZ-75. He's only going to get one with that. And now it's Silent, the man with the op, left trying to clutch things out in the 1 versus 4.
I think in all reality, just trying to pick up a kill or two here before he ends up falling back to save. But hits one, almost hits a second there. He knows that someone's close to the back of this the Z train here, as Wardell is trying to play around it currently. Really just making a whole lot of noise, though. It actually seems like Silent just kind of fully committed himself to it after he got that first kill, though. So has a position over here inside of the left lane, but just can't hit another shot to actually let him get into this site. So eventually he'll find himself pinched and now dead on the ground with Heartbeat coming in from the back to close out.
Yeah, looking at this game, or this map, I should say, not really the greatest of maps for Rush. They played it twice this season in Pro League. They beat Selfless, which, depending on when that win came through, might not be as much of an accomplishment. And then they they lost to CLG 16-8. In other tournaments, they played it in the DreamHack Open Austin qualifiers. They lost to CLG in that as well, and they struggled to beat a team that I've never even heard of, Invictus Morior, in an Open Tours qualifier. Yeah,
no clue
16-14, 16-14. Outside of that, they really haven't played it that much. Whereas on the other side, we've seen this map played quite a bit by Ghost Gaming, and once upon a time when they were B's Money Crew, it's actually one of the maps they beat Complexity in to qualify for the ECS Season 3. So it's not an amazing map for them, but it's definitely a better map for them than we have for Rush. So it's no surprise there that Ghost pick it. The problem is that map 2 is also a good map for Ghost. So, just looking at the map pool, we kind of highlighted it coming into the series. This could be a 2-0, especially if Ghosts continue in this form.
I mean, maybe it honestly could have just been a thing where Rush decided that they were willing to toss away the first map and just felt confident in the last 2 maps. But even so, this performance isn't really lending that theory a whole lot of levity when you consider that they're kind of just getting crushed right now. I mean, all right, they got the 1 round there, but just look at them. They're completely really broken here, put them to an absolute full save for this round. The only player that bought anything at all was Ruru going for a CZ buy. And even that was a little bit unjustified since he's sitting at only like $1,500 right now. So he's probably going to be missing some utility going into the next gun round. So Rush are in a really tough spot right now. And, I mean, if the performance like this just carries through, I highly doubt that they're going to be ready to play in a much better fashion going into the second map.
We'll talk more about the maps in just a bit here as this eco round is live for Rush. Although you wouldn't really know. They don't have a whole lot of firepower to try and fend off the opposing forces. Akis, Toy, and Ruru looking for some kills here. Akis is down very low on HP, sitting at just 9. He's at the bottom of ladder with Toy right beside him. And now he's climbing his way up. He might be able to get a kill or not. Wardell's waiting and watching just in case that did happen. He might have a second one lined up, but he too is very low. So if Toy plays this right, they might be able to get an op, but there's so much time left on the clock that getting away with it would be the difficult part. Wardell is going to get caught off guard, so it's an easy kill for Toy. Ruru still has the CZ75, and the bomb is now down. That's actually the biggest problem. As I don't know if they have a real plan or strategy to try and get this one back. With Toy holding onto that op, it's a pretty decent play right now for Rush.
The issue for Toy, though, is he has to look to like 5 different positions in playing in this room. So there's a very high chance that he just gets shot in the back and peeking the wrong spot, which is exactly what will happen. And again, it's Heartbeat, who seems to be the guy that's doing this quite often, actually. So that issue of the bomb being dropped, now completely gone. And all I have to worry about is Ruru, who has a CZ, and that is it. He's also already down at like 50 HP. It swings out, does spot the play, but Heartbeat also spotted him. So he takes the duel. And to no one's surprise, he'll lose it. Seb will take out Ruru there, and Ghost end up 8-1. But Rush have enough cash flow to be able to buy into this next round.
So we touched upon the map pool, and we were talking about how maybe Rush is feeling confident in the second and third map. The third map is Nuke. Rush has played Nuke 3 times since the beginning of the year, and they have a collective 10 rounds against all 3 matches.
So my theory completely out the window.
Yeah. Compare that to B's Money Crew and Ghost, who's beaten E United. They've played close games against Misfits. They beat Denial twice, Splice. I know that was in the Premier season, but still, I got to give a little bit more credibility for Ghost Gaming there and or XB's Money Crew.
Well, now Heartbeat already finding the first entry, and to my surprise, actually, Rush don't even full buy into this one. They just kind of go for a bit of a half buy, and again, they're getting crushed. Like they really need to. This was an issue for them in the season too, is that they never really tried to force the issue when it was necessary. Nice shot from Ruru though, as it gets the fadeaway on the Heartbeat. But still, it's going to be very little consequence here. Getting 2, even 3 kills sometimes in these rounds is not going to do too much of a dent to the T-set economy since they don't have to invest nearly as much on their rebuys. But Rush being so passive just continues to let Ghost get this, even if it's only like 6 or 7K, that's a pretty large sum of money. It can carry you through like 2 or 3 rounds if you buy in a smart pattern. And they kind of let Ghost have that by going for these half buys when it may not be entirely necessary. Ooh, again, hits both those shots. Jesus.
He's, the CZ75 is having a slow death to a certain degree as the 5.7 just continues to show its strengths. And a lot of players have been giving that gun up so they can go to the 5.7. But there's still a few guys who cling on to the CZ75, and Ruru's one of them. And we've seen some pretty impressive pistol work from him throughout the entirety of this relegation tournament. And he just showed it there. Even though he doesn't get the kill, it's 2 back-to-back shots from the CZ75 to Seb. Yeah,
from like
great
halfway
distance
across the map.
But still not around for Rush, and it's now 9 for Ghost. Reminder, this is the T side of Train, which is considered, it's kind of tied with Nuke right now as one of the most CT sided maps in the current rotation. So not a really great first half if you're Rush. Not really how you wanted to start this best of 3 series. You got to start looking and go, maybe we should have vetoed Train. B is going to creep up on the hell position from Green Train, getting past Olaf, and Silent falls right into his crosshair, so it's a pretty easy kill for him. Ruru too just kind of walks right past him, And it's another kill for the side of Ghost in that B site as well, as Ghost is just getting control all across the map. Nades being expended towards the Z connector, a molly towards CT spawn, and a smoke right at the base of Z means it's going to be a save here for Toy and Blade.
Yeah, both of them really, again, don't have any opportunities to get back in and reliably attempt to win out a 1v4 or 2v4, excuse me, scenario. So they are just going to post up and try to counter any attempts to hunt them down. Ghosts have been more than happy to oblige them under these circumstances. The issue is that, you know, they just thought that they were going to win it right from the get-go here. So Seb had already gone out. Toy either got intel or just suspected that Seb would be out there, though. So actually a pretty good read into that situation. They prevent Seb from knocking down the op and possibly knocking out Blade too. And that should allow, with that one extra duel coming back in, that should allow for both these guys to stay alive. Possibly another kill. Have to work this way in here, depending on if Heartbeat really wants to chase down Toy or not.
Well, 2 players survive for both teams, so they're able to do what they were unable to do previously, which is just bring guns into the next round. And that's going to produce a double op setup. It looks like Silent's going to heave an M4 over to one of his teammates, so we will have the double op. This is like that desperation right now if you're Rush. You're just realizing that nothing is working. Nothing you've done so far. Kind of surprised that they don't go the route of like a Scar 20 at this point, because we've seen just how devastating that can be on Train. You know, talk what you will about the gun itself. On Train, it's like even worse. It's just so hard to stop appropriately positioned Scar 20s on this map. Here comes the smoke execute for Ghost, though, as they throw them up over the wall and start pouring out from Z. The mollies are going to delay them just a bit. It's perfectly thrown right on top of T-Connector, so they have to delay the take for just a moment. Heartbeat dives into the ladder room and starts spraying away, but there's Blade with the M4 to get the opener. That's exactly what they need, as they've been struggling with those opening fights. They pick up another one as well as B goes down. Even Seb's going to drop, so it's looking like a pretty successful round right now, as it comes down to only Wardell, who didn't really get more than a few inches out of the T-Connector. He does manage to spot Toy at the top of the ladder, so it's a nice headshot from the AWP. But still 3 players stand in front of him. The bomb is within grasp. So there's flex play right now for Wardell. He can maybe make something happen, but realistically speaking, this should be the second round for Rush.
Wardell really not going to have great vision about where exactly these remaining CTs were positioned. He might have caught Silent when he was peeking up on top of the blue train a second ago, but I'm not entirely sure. So regardless, besides that, he's okay. There we go. Manages to hit Blade on a split-second jump up. Unfortunately, like I said, besides finding that one play right there, he really didn't have a whole lot of intel. So Silent is going to be able to just pop right out, surprise him, and take him out of the play.
This is looking kind of similar to last night's match, where we saw, a string of rounds with just one, and then a string of rounds, and then one more. It felt like consistently they were just unable to chain rounds together. They would just kind of get around here and around there, just drops in the bucket compared to the growing ocean of rounds that we've seen building for Ghost. I mean, there's so much in comparison. Ghost is 5 times the round total of Rush on the side that should be struggling on Train. And they still have enough money to buy up here. So rifles across the board, 1 op in play for both teams. No double op this time for the likes of Rush, Wardell, and Silent, respectively holding on to the op title. But they're positioned in areas where they're not likely to encounter one another as of yet. Silent's playing Z, and then Wardell's actually watching for the Ivy push. Right now, Connor's playing a dangerous game too over on the B site, as he was creeping up on that smoke on lower ramp. Akis was right around the corner. We've got Blade pinned down on Bomb Train, watching ladder. It's pretty good positioning right now for Rush, and a bit slower of an approach than we've seen from Ghost.
As Ghosts were finally kind of outmatched with that great molly placement in the last round. They do have to look into some different options, and that appears to be what they are doing now. Just lining it essentially into a default, although they don't have any Ivy pressure where you would normally see at least one player try to investigate. Instead, it's a pretty heavy stack over here towards the ladder room, and they're not going to start moving in for control outside of there. They do swing back in. Ruru first to hold it. Blade peeking out. Trade will move in from Neptune, but still they've gained very little control. The entire T-Con push so far has been completely destroyed. They've only made progress outside of ladder room, but they're going to get enough to be able to push back in, and Heartbeat saves his own life, eliminating Toy there. It seemed like he was going to get decked, but didn't happen. However, now Silent moves in for an additional pickup and keeps the man advantage going for Rush. Wardell still completely really out of this site too, so you only have Neptune to defend this. They do not have a lot of control at all. Rush is going to have free reign and just push right back in, and Neptune is even looking in the complete wrong direction. when he finally gets pushed upon here. So I'm not sure how this setup was really supposed to work, but not really a great support system between these last two players. So now they'll move back in. Wardell with a great shot. They are in the bomb, though, so he's got to move forward a little bit more quickly than this. Missing it. They should be able to defuse it, and there you have it. Wardell now just a tuck away. Try to save. He hits a nice shot on Akis and tries to go for the third one, but that one is not going to connect. And ultimately, Rush will pick up the round.
Wardell was going for the shot from the top of the ladder with the op. Neptune was kind of just stuck there. It wasn't really a misplay. He had no choice. He plants the bomb on the default spot, and then he knows that there's probably players Z, so he puts the smoke down right to his left and just tried to hide in it. So he was hiding in it kind of like on the edge. I think he was watching ladder. I wasn't in his perspective to see how far past that smoke he was, but that's why that went down the way that it did. Here's that fast A play that we've seen work out so well for Ghost. They've already got B pushed all the way up past Hell over towards Green Train. Toy's on the other side of the smoke. He's got a flash ready. He's going to throw it out, but it's a dead giveaway as to where Toy's at, so it's an easy kill for B. Meanwhile, though, the rest of his team is having a hard time. B somehow creeps onto the site. They haven't even looked at him, but he hasn't moved beyond the cameras. Ruru is playing right on the other side. He's inside of smoke as well. With 19 HP, he's only got Silent to work with, who's wrapping around from Horseshoe. Silent misses a shot, and that's going to cause them to kind of delay. Yeah, there's Ruru, though, coming in from the smoke, and now it's up to Silent to clutch things out.
Yeah, Silent going to be left alone here, as they did trade Ruru out, and Silent was a little bit too far detached from the situation. I don't even know if he's going to attempt this. He could absolutely win it. It's just a lack of utility combined with intelligence is making this a little bit more difficult.
Hey, are you saying he's stupid?
No.
Blue.
I'm saying lack of what he knows about what's on the site. Is
Blue.
what I'm saying. I'm not.
Do I have to? I'm gonna tell Sam you just said that. I'm gonna say, hey
that
Sam.
Is not what I was trying to say.
Blue just said you're stupid on stream.
You've twisted my words. That's not fair.
He's been told. Career's over. Fired.
Sorry. Anyway, moving into the next round. Rush are going to find themselves put into a pretty dire situation now for the 15th round, forcing up as much as they can, but that force is not going to be too great. CZ's various amounts of upgraded pistols with armor. Blade gets the best gun on the scout, but even then, that can obviously be very, very dodgy depending on the positioning it tends to find itself in. So, looking like Rush themselves are going to try to be just a little bit more aggressive at sort of like holding at these angles, but still, their track record on eco rounds has not been so great, so I'm not really expecting an upset in this round.
Really rough game right now for Rush. Just 3 rounds here in the first half on Train, as Ghost has taken a very commanding lead. We've got 4 players still left standing here for Rush to maybe find a 4th, potentially, but even still, it's going to be hard to bounce back from this one, because they're going to be switching over to the T side. And even if you're a very good Train team, this is a really, really tough battle to overcome. Inside the site, we've got Ruru. He's on the other side of the spindles with the CZ. We talked about this man's proficiency with that pistol. He's going to have a couple of bodies in front of him. Should be a kill? Oh, maybe not.
Oh,
I thought
nice.
for a second he'd get Heartbeat, but even after he kills Heartbeat, there's not really much chance for him to survive. There's a good shot onto Blade as well. The round is going exactly as you would expect it would. It's Toy and Silent trying to come in, and now just Silent with the scout. A quick closeout in the end. It's a 12-3 first half. Great stuff from Ghost.
Yeah, and Ghost obviously have to be feeling really great about themselves, especially considering that the next map we go on to is going to be a relatively strong one for them as well. So, assuming they can win this pistol and carry through, I mean, Rush have to hopefully give themselves a few minutes just to reset. This is another one of those maps where there's just not a whole lot to be gained from the situation here. They are kind of just getting shut down on almost every single gun round. They had that one great hold due to like the good molly timing and just them, you know, being very passive about their positioning and whatnot. Ghost had to try and play against that, and ultimately just kind of got crushed because they had to basically just push into the open blindly with not a great amount of utility supporting them. And Rush took great advantage of that. But besides really that one round, that's all we really saw from Rush in that half. And Ghost, besides that, were able to pretty much run them over on almost every single other occasion.
I would love to have a talk with some of the guys on Rush and just kind of gauge their mentality coming into this relegation. They're matching up against a team in Ghost who managed to pick up a sponsor after a very mediocre season in a league lower than them in Premier. Ghost barely made playoffs by defeating the #1 seed in the last match of the season, and that required like 2 or 3 other teams to also lose the last match in order for that to even happen. So they made playoffs. They managed a big upset victory against that first seed team in the first round of playoffs. And then they beat, I think it was French Canadians, which was Sabrosa's team, in the fourth decider match to make it to this point and also to the Mountain Dew League land. But like, if I'm Rush, I'd probably be a little bit frustrated at the fact that we played an entire season of Pro League sponsorless, and a team that struggled early on in Premier managed to pick up a sponsor themselves.
Yeah, it's always a tricky thing because I think the last few seasons there were a bunch of orgs that were coming in that were willing to jump on teams just because they had the Pro League slot. But I think the problem for the last 2 seasons or so has been that unless the team is actually showing a decent amount of momentum, there's a very low chance, I think, that after they get into Pro League, unless they continue to show that momentum in the first 2 or 3 weeks or so, that they're actually going to be able to get themselves a sponsor together, at least like a decent one, because of the fact that they're going to jump onto the team and then more than likely they end up getting relegated, because that's the story that far too often ends up happening with these Premier move up teams, unless they have a decent roster behind them, like in the case of Misfits and LG. Ghost, they've been showing a trend of upswinging. They consistently, in their ECS track, were able to kind of pop out of nowhere and upset against a couple pretty good teams. So I think that's why they were able to pick up a decent sponsor, and someone's willing to invest in their future if they can continue that momentum forward into the next season.
I mean, it's just interesting to think the last season we had 3 teams come into Pro League from Premier, and only one of those teams didn't have an org. And this season, we have potentially 3 teams from Premier moving into Pro League, and all 3 of them do. So the one odd man out is Rush. They just, I feel like they're just consistently, stuck. They're the low men on the totem pole. But the pistol round is live here, and it looks like it is going to be a B execute. Wardell's on top of Tanker Train. He's taking a long-range duel, but he got flashed initially, so he couldn't line up the shot right off the bat. It's going to be B to mop up the kill in the end. The bomb did make it onto the site, and now it runs away. I'm liking this play right now from Rush. This is ballsy. As they got control, and then they just ran towards A. I'm loving the play.
And now Silent can hold this great position back over here on the outside of the bomb train. Misses those early shots, though, so now instead Ghost are going to just wrap everyone through the back calls here. And it's actually working out pretty well for Ghost currently. They're going to get a lot of control back over here towards Ivy. Silent's going to be actually in a pretty poor position if they spawn him at first, but they don't really check for that, so he's allowed to get that first kill for free. He's got Seb low. Ruru comes in for the assist to keep Silent alive, and now he's going to be able to pick up a second kill as he eliminates Neptune. It's down to a 2v1 at the end of the day, though, and Silent is now stuck in heaven. Left to 4K to clutch it back out, or just prevent this defuse for long enough. Holding on, picks up one. He's already got the other one down to 5 HP. B versus Silent, and Beach is going to hop onto the bomb. Silent hopping down himself, looking for his opponent, but he can't find him just yet, and misses the chance. So Ghost steal it inside of the smoke, and they'll push up and win the pistol.
Oh, God. First it was that Molly smoke play the other night, and now that. Just not having a great relegation tournament there. Silent, he's actually one of the reasons they even had that round where it was. He got 2 kills from underneath heaven, and then he damaged B so badly and had him pinned. The big play right there was also, I think he had a 3rd kill on Wardell. Yeah, he was looking for a 4K, right? So the big play right there was keeping B away from the bomb site by holding that position on upper. But once B was able to get on the bomb, he had that kit. So it just came down to playing the clock, and I guess he just thought he had a second more than he did. He dives down, hoping to spam him through that smoke. It doesn't happen. So it is going to be a 10-round lead for Ghost. So from bad to worst, as Rush are going to save up here, as they are, want to do, as they've done all season long, trying to get that 3rd round AK by 2 players already down and out, Ruru and Blade. It should be a quick and easy mop up here for Ghost Gaming, as it's cut down to Akis and Silent.
Yeah, and Silent himself just kind of hiding back out over here, trying to swing in, but B is already paying attention to that one, so Ghost get themselves up to 14. Just 2 more rounds, and they'll have secured map number 1 out of 2 that they need to get their Pro League slot going here. Now, Rush put up against the wall. Thankfully, they were able to, at the very least, get that plant in the first round. They're going to go for the buy right now, and this is it. This is the all-in attempt to try and prevent Ghost from immediately getting up to round number 15, and them having to do, I think it would be 12 straight. So they're going to try to stop it here and at least make it a little bit more competitive.
There's the Molly down right in front of them to try and delay that push into the site. And now smoke on top of it as well. There's so much utility being dumped into T-Connector very early on in the round. That Molly, did that pop on top of the green train in T-Connector? What on earth was that? It was actually burning just on the edge, so it looked like it went underneath it. Could have done a lot more damage to Ruru, who is over on that side. Instead, he only takes a small amount and survives with his life. So a bit of wasted utility, but not really blaming the CTs too much for that one. They've got Heartbeat. That would be Connor at the bottom of ladder. Meanwhile, Seb is watching for the push in box halls. 2 players playing Z and Neptune on the back of Horseshoe. A very slow play right now from Rush as they're trying to develop some sort of strategy. You can see a lot of the players grouped up in the showers and brown halls. And then there's just that sole man working all by himself over on Ivy. That would be Blade.
Wardell has a great lineup, though. Immediately punishes Ruru when he does try to push himself out of T-Con. Heartbeat may just challenge inside in a second, supported by a flashbang. Nicely done. It's very tactical. It's very well coordinated from Ghost right now. And they're absolutely destroying Rush on their attempts to get out and get any semblance of control across this map. Another example of that's going to come right back out on the B bomb set as Akis does make his entry, but immediately Wardell and B respond to it. So it's just Blade stuck over here with the bomb on top of the ladder room, put up against an impossible task. And it does look like he's going to try and swing himself outside. Finds at least that 1 kill against an over-eager Neptune, but Heartbeat is waiting when he goes onto the site and will shut down the round with an off shot.
So, a 15th round for Ghost, and it's looking like this first map is done and dusted. We did think that this would be a map that Ghost takes easily. I didn't think it was going to be this easy, but we saw, Rush not really have the greatest of seasons, and then looking back at that best of 3 last night against Enigma 6, that first map was awful. I mean, really was abysmal from Rush. 16-2 win for Enigma 6. Now, I know it's not trained, but still, you can see that there are some weaknesses here for this Rush squad, and they're getting gunned down by Neptune, the young talent for Ghost Gaming. It's just a matter of 2 players here, Silent and Ruru, holding on to potentially force another round. As Silent does at least get 1, but that's likely to be it. Ruru with the Tech 9, and that's going to be it. Ghost Gaming close out the map 16-3. Absolutely fantastic from them.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, there's not a whole lot you can say about that. Ghost just completely crushed Rush, and they are not even given a chance in the second half there. So it ends very one-sided for Ghost, and that's going to be very, very bad now for Rush going into our second map. We'll discuss more on that in just a little bit, however, as we are going to take a short break while we wait for those players to ready up. As soon as we do have the second map ready, folks, we'll bring it back to you here. So stick around for more action at the EPL relegation event for Season 6 of the Pro League.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.
Get your team apparel now at shop.eslgaming.com.
And for possibly now the absolute last time, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the EPL Season 5 Relegation Tournament. We're in the final stage. It is the lower bracket finals between Ghost Gaming and Rush. Ghost just took a dominating stance back on Train. 16-3, I believe, was the final score. And now we go on to Overpass. So this could be the very end of Rush's Pro League run. They'll have to stop it here and win at the third map if they want to stay alive. Otherwise, Ghost will take it, and they'll claim their slot for the upcoming season, Season 6. VPL. Bach, what are we looking at going into this map now?
Well, I actually have a really important question for you here. If you fly around the map, all of the signs are in German. Why is the bank not?
I don't know. What's the German word for bank?
I don't speak German, so I don't know. But I'm just like, you know, I'm casually like translating signs through Google Translate, and then I get to the bank, and I'm like, well, I know what that says, and I just continue flying on.
That's because the German word for bank is just bank. So.
Oh, that's so disappointing. Couldn't they just make up a German word so it would like fit the motif of the map?
I'm pretty sure the word bank did like derive from the German language.
It doesn't sound German. It just, I don't know.
Something close to the original German language. I could be wrong about that, but you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, looking at these two teams on paper, Ghost Gaming played so much better on Train, but it is Train, a map that a lot of North American teams absolutely hate. So I guess you could argue that maybe Rush was just underprepared for it. But at the same point in time, like just watching the two teams stack up against one another, Ghost had them like every engagement almost. And it's exactly what we saw last night as well when Rush played Enigma 6. It felt like they were just being outplayed consistently across the board, regardless of the strat or setup. So I really don't have too much confidence in Rush right now, even though this is their map pick.
Well, getting into it now, Rush are going to be true to their name. They're just going to rush their way into the B bomb site, starting it right off. It's Toy leading the charge. Wardell trying to hold from the backside over there. But Rush still take pretty good control of it. Problem is, though, is that Ghost are going to be moving in on a pretty quick flank. And it doesn't seem like Rush took too much confidence to be able to hold outside of it. The only exception to this is Ruru in water right now. He goes 1 for 1, but is then immediately taken down still. Good positions and a good ability for Rush to be able to hold this back up, but nobody's watching for Monster. So that's a huge avenue being opened back up. Thankfully, Seb misses a few very crucial shots, but at the very least, it distracts to let a few more teammates start to wiggle their way back in. It is left down to Heartbeat at the end of it, though. The chaos subsiding. Heartbeat will have to try to clutch out the 1v2. He currently does not have a kit there. Maybe one on the ground, though, that he can try and utilize. He's taking out Akis. He's going to tap onto the bomb now to try to get Silent to move into the site. It's going to work. Looking for that headshot. He's not going to find it. And Silent ends up with a 2k on the round and gets that final 1v1 clutch to secure it for Rush.
There was a kit somewhere. I just don't know where it ended up. Maybe it was in water. I couldn't find it on the ground. At that point, Silent just swings out wider than he had to. He could have just baited that out a little bit longer. Once he sees that he's off the bomb, just fall back again, play that game. But he feels confident, and he's going to take the fight, and that might be the boost that Rush needs to get themselves back into this best of 3, because there is a third map to follow, and it's not a good one for Rush. So if they're going to take it, it's going to require some confidence. It does look like it's going to be a full-bore A attack right now, as a lot of the players from Rush are just charging up long A with the flashbangs behind them in case someone's holding a passive angle. I like the setup from Ghost. So much presence towards the connector, but it's not going to really work out well for them, as basically Rush abandons any mid presence and goes completely towards long with only one player watching party. That's Blade, who's way back with the ump.
Yeah, and now Rush are going to swing themselves in towards A pretty quickly, which means they should be able to take the site. Oh, unfortunately there. Who is that? Who's Crondle? I think they changed his name.
That's their coach.
Oh, okay.
Why is Crondle playing?
Yeah, that threw me off in the pistol.
B's not here.
That's who it is. Okay, so it's not B, right? He didn't just change his name?
No, that's a different player.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe B lit his computer on fire. I have no idea. I mean, Crondle is kind of a player and a coach at the same time, just like B is. They're both in the same position. So he actually coached them at the Mountain Dew League. But I feel like those two are slightly interchangeable. I think that B is a better player overall, and he's more used to playing with this roster. It's an interesting time for them to have an issue here where he's not in the server.
Yeah, apparently from what we've been told, B just had to go, so he might have had like an IRL thing happen or something, and he might have had to drop out. So Crondle is jumping in to take his place.
All right, I'll find out. I'll do some investigative journalism here. Yeah, I'm gonna pull off my what's that guy with the mustache from the 80s and 90s? Geraldo Rivera.
Before my time, so that's all.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're a young blood.
Yeah.
I always forget. You're still baby faced.
Well, we do have now Ghost going for another sort of just a half investment on a few of their players for what they were able to save from that last round, but for the most part, it is going to be basically just a trash round. Crondle and Neptune just have USPs, and then they have a various amount of pistols for the other 3 players, so still heavy-handed for Rush, more than likely to be able to take this one. But we could see some action over here by the bathroom connector. They are pushing back in. The first swing rolls out, but it's just completely destroyed by Rush. Very well played there. And that should pretty much seal the deal for this round. The last 2 are definitely towards the other half of the map, so by the time that we do see Ghost able to rotate up there, we are going to have Rush already up with full control of the site. So it doesn't even look like that the last 2 from Ghost are even going to try to do much. They have armor, and in the case of Seb, he's an with head armor, so they might as well just sit back and try to save.
Yep, I mean, at this point, just try and hang on to that if you can, because it's worthwhile holding on to it. Wardell's got the deagle as well. It's actually a good setup to try and hold on to these guns, as Seb's in a corner where he's really at no risk whatsoever of being pushed from the door with Wardell holding it. And even if Wardell falls, Seb's right there for the trade kill. So Rush is looking for these remaining players, but I don't think they're going to find them anytime soon. The bomb should blow in just a bit here. Silent is still convinced that there could be a player lurking about. He even does a double check. Like, are they here? Are they here? Are they here? The bomb blows up, and now Seb's at risk. He's got to concern himself with the mini canal. Oh, no. Just like that, they lose the ump. They get the deagle, I guess. That's something, but yeah, they lose the ump.
Yeah, that was the one big gun. The deagle save means basically nothing, since Wardell's just going to buy up a whole new gun behind it and still end up with only, like, what, $100 left over. So, yeah, doesn't really save them a whole lot of cash at the end of the day to carry that through. But regardless, Ghosts now having themselves a full buy. Hopefully we'll have the firepower to be able to hold off against Rush and pick up a few rounds for themselves. Rush pretty much opening this up in a default fashion. A little bit fast to take control of water, but thankfully for them, no one from Ghost pushed back out. We do have a possible boost, and obviously Wardell hitting that first shot against Blade curtails some of the pressure closer towards A, but Heartbeat almost finds himself knocked out. Thankfully, D stacks on top of his teammate there just in the nick of time and avoids that, and still gets away with the intel too. Knows that they have a little bit of presence towards water right now.
Wardell with a flash deep towards that B bomb site. Man advantage right now for Ghost Gaming, a position they've been in pretty consistently in the past. The Molly's going to go down on Catwalk. Ruru's going to have to go through it. Somehow they don't take too much damage. I didn't see if they smoked it, but they make it into the site, and that's 2 quick kills for Neptune. Yeah, the smoke is down. Silent at least picks up 1 before Connor arrives. Try and save the day. It's Toy in the site, and he's not going to live too much longer as Wardell is watching that pole. So it's going to be the first round for Ghost. 3 players survive as well, which is a nice start to try and build up some of that economic cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good start indeed. But for Rush here now, they still have at least 1 more buy round to go through before they themselves are going to end up on an eco. 4 AKs and the single op for Silent. We will see how this ends up panning out for them, as Rush are going to proceed into what again appears at the very least to be another normal default setup here, but immediately they'll meet resistance this time in the connector if they still try to go through those lower halls. Both Seb and I believe Wardell are in here. And Wardell actually in an interesting spot with the op on top of the steps. This could be a little bit of a close angle for him, but Akis like slow peeks into it. There you go. Gets greedy though and re-peeks, so Ruru is going to trade that back out. And now we have the potential battle between Seb and Ruru as Seb's going to swing back in, re-executes there, gets back control of the connector, and brings the advantage back under the control of Ghost.
3 versus 4 right now. Ghost Gaming with the man advantage. Nade up and over Toy's shoulders. Doesn't do any damage. Just barely avoids it. Got Seb coming in, though, from connector. Toy can't really do a whole lot from that position. He's kind of pinned in a corner at that. So it will be Blade and Silent. Again, Rush are in a position where they're down multiple players trying to take a site. This is basically Train all over again. These rounds looking very similar to that. And this could be disastrous if this continues on. Even with Crondle playing, they seem to be doing decent. a player who has not played with the active rotation on a normal basis. Blade's back behind the truck on the site, and they've got a decent take going here. Silent, good line of sight onto Crondle as well as he peeks him through the crack in that smoke. They're going to boost up and over. Are they going to be able to see him? Yeah, they do. They drop Silent, but Blade's still in the sight. So it's down to a 2v1.
Swings in, and Noel ends up losing himself in the process. Looked like he was going to get that kill. So very unfortunate there. Ghost almost lost themselves towards the end of it, but they do still indeed close out upon the round, and that's going to cause the breaking of Rush. So they should end up at most with a half buy on a few of their players. A majority of them, however, are not even going to be able to do that. As we can see, just a couple P250s rolling in. The biggest buy you'd have would be over for Blade, but even he buys relatively light. Just a smoke, 2 flashbangs, and the P250. And judging from the track record we saw back on Train, this should be a relatively easy round for Ghost to close out on.
Wardell in mid doesn't even need to hit the shot. Seb's gonna open fire, and it's 4 for him. Wardell's like, I'm not letting you get all the glory here. I'll at least get 1 kill. As Seb just mows them down on the push into mid. And that's now 11 kills for him as he's his way well past the others to the top frag position. And it's going to keep the AWP in play with ease as well. Crondle's still holding on to the AWP. Doesn't even feel like he needs to upgrade past that one. It'll be 5 AKs for Rush, no AWP for Silent. So again, Wardell can flex that AWP might, that scoped rifle. He's just got to be careful. He's moving up pretty far right now on long A, trying to peek towards the stairs. Or the playground for that matter. But he's not going to spot anything early on as the closest player is back by the stairs. It's Silent jump peeking, looking for that aggression.
Blade messed up. I think he tried to molly steps early on here, but he ended up just throwing it into that shelf that's at the bottom of the ladder. So basically throws $400 away at the beginning of the round. So not going to be the greatest. Thankfully, they still have 1 more, so they should still be able to utilize that as well. They end up going for this B hit since Akis is sitting right behind sandbags currently. But at the moment, it is just waiting down the time, as we can see from Rush. Probably won't be too much, though, as they've got everyone here. They're all set up. I think Silence is kind of lurking and preventing the CTs from moving in for a flank. At least a full flank. And with Blade getting that first kill, well, now they really don't have a choice. They've been revealed. I'm imagining Neptune saw the bombs. They're going to move into the site, but we already have full rotates. Doesn't matter, though, as Rush making great progress here. It didn't seem like Ghost was ready for that direct contact at all, and now it's already down to 7 Wardell, who really aren't going to have a choice but to fall back and save.
A big mistake from Ghost there. They try to get aggressive with the deep smoke on Monster Canal. They throw a pop flash up and over, and Neptune peaks. Unfortunately, they are right next to him, and he actually dinks the lead man, I believe. So he gets dropped, and then as soon as they stop shooting him, they realize, okay, well, someone had to throw that pop flash from the canal, so they start spamming, and they connect with Connor as well. He has to back up, tries to get a molly out to throw it, sees the player coming up catwalk, tries to switch back to his gun. I mean, it was just a really awkward exchange on the B site, and then there was only 1 player left to try and defend. So really not a great hold on B, and it all started with that attempted aggression towards the Monster Canal. It's one of those plays where if you're Ghost Gaming, you wish you could get that one back. However, both players will survive theoretically. Seb's got a player right around the corner from him, but he'll walk away with that AK, and that'll help field the buy just a little bit more, as Wardell will have roughly 7K to drop a gun, and Seb can throw one out as well.
Speaking of Seb, man, look at where he's at currently in the scoreboard. Currently 12-2, so he's been dominating for Ghost, despite the fact that they didn't necessarily get the greatest start, and they're still down at the moment against Rush here. That could very easily change in this upcoming round, though, as they have a big buy for themselves. So we'll see what exactly Rush will try to deploy towards them, if Ghost will be able to properly counter that. At the moment, it's looking okay for them as they go for this boost again, and this time it works brilliantly. They catch Ruru and Akis moving in through the alt tunnel before they even properly get themselves set up. They're already being pelted down by the CTs. Nonetheless, though, a trade is going to move its way in, and it's down on the B site too. Toy finds the kill into Neptune, but it's at a heavy cost to Toy's own HP. He's now down at 1 after winning that battle.
Minute and 15 here on the clock. The bomb working back towards A. Got Wardell in the bathrooms with his op, just watching for the mid push, and now setting up for an angle at party. 2 players already up long. That would be Silent and his cohort Blade. Bomb now joining them, as well as Toy. Just a full team effort towards long. Without that scoped rifle, they're not really in a great spot to try and take it, but they are going to be walking right towards Wardell, who's actually in mid bathrooms, not playing long. He could get very overwhelmed here. He's got to be careful. Molotov comes out at the perfect time, just as they were about to push past it. Had he thrown that a second later, they run it out instead to try and beat the damage, and he loses his life. So he buys his team some clock here, and he's going to hold back on this A site with this AWP.
Well, now for Rush. Again, down a player here, but so is Ghost. They are trying to slowly wiggle their way up towards A, and at the moment, I don't have a whole lot of players paying attention to it. The problem is they don't use any utility to really get into this site. There's a couple of pop flashes, and they really aren't that great. So both Wardell and Seb hit their opening kills. Wardell with a bit of a miss, though, so now he's kind of trapped. Gets that nice repeat, though, and he knows the last one is. Silent's still going to get the better of him, but now he's up against the 1v3. No way he's getting to that site, especially considering at the time of his death, there was only like 3 seconds left. So, once again, Ghost respawn. They close it on the round. Rush is going to force into this one. So we'll see how much they're able to put together. And it should actually be a pretty decent buy. At least one ump's going to be in there, but everybody else should have AKs.
Right now, if you're Ghost, though, you really can't afford this pattern of this like back and forth sort of trading rounds. So you need to assert your dominance in one of these buy rounds to force your opponent back down to pistols so you can continue again tallying up the rounds on your CT side. However, their T side on train looked really good. So their T side here could look even better. They've got the op again. It's Wardell. No op for the Ts as they continue to struggle with their cash flow. Connor's playing close towards the Monster Canal, but there's only one player there. The bomb is back down in T-spawn, so they don't really have a clear direction decided upon yet. Just kind of sitting back to see if they can catch somebody out early. Pop flash from mid bathrooms as it goes out over the wall. Gives Akis and Ruru some room to work with. But they don't spot anything initially. Seb's playing a little bit more passive. He's around the corner, buried in the cubby, and oh, that's a nice flash. Thank you very much, Wardell. As Seb gets blinded by his teammate. The flash was supposed to go a little bit deeper, but it hit the water fountain, I believe, and landed right in front of his eyes.
Well, now we do have Wardell sitting back here. He'll get smoked back from long, so that is going to give Rush a little bit more room to work with to kind of, again, wiggle around the map here. But with time getting as low as it is, they are going to need to actually execute pretty soon, or they're, in all reality, probably not actually going to have enough time to get that bomb onto the ground based on the way that they fought for these sites previously. It's still very split up. I mean, you have Toy just battling through the paneling here, and Blade in a very awkward battle with Heartbeat. Heartbeat definitely comes out on top, and what's even better, he goes through and gets Toy. Now the last three, going to go for a kind of haphazard push into A. There's already someone that's going to be in a position to flank him, though. Sepp saw them moving in. Wardell gets one. He does kind of bait his teammate in a little bit, but thankfully they still have a huge man advantage, so Wardell going down is not a big deal currently, especially considering Sepp can push back in, essentially gets a free kill against Silent, and Ruro's not going to get very far. They even gets denied of just the plant.
That's actually a big denial, too. You know, that extra $800 would push them into, like, potential force buy territory. But instead, it should be a more dedicated save. And it's something we've seen from Rush, too, is that the ability to try and, like, hold back and realize, okay, there's no sense in us spending the money. We're not going to get it out of it. So they just get a flash in the smoke. They're going to try and get a bomb plant. Looks like it's going to be towards B. So they use that flash to enter into the site, and then the smoke will go down on top of the bomb to try and get a plant or to burn out or to extinguish the molly. They didn't really do a good job of extinguishing the molly, though. They just go right on through it, and unfortunately for them, Blade's stuck on the other side. Neptune just gets a little bit of a mow-down, hoe-down on the B side. Even Connor getting in on the action. It's a full house split hold for them as Ghosts get their 6th round. It should be a buy up here, but again, no op in play. This is exactly the problems they had on train.
Yeah, and now with Ghost in really full control of the situation, we finally do have to see Rush go back down onto just a half buy here. Tech 9's a P250 for Silent as he does try to save up for the op coming into the next gun round here. They get themselves a little bit of utility. He's sending out mollies on it, so they can go for a quick like flood of the B site and then just try to force their way in. But look at this stack now. Big old boost. The triple man stack up on top. It's spotted, however, so Heartbeat's only going to be able to get one with it, and then Akis responds from that back corner. Just brings it into a 4v4. He does spot the big amount of players that are in here, though, so again, should be able to suspect it if they follow through and push into this B site.
Neptune with one more kill onto Akis as the bodies continue to pile up here. The kill count working in Ghost's favor. Silent, Toy, and Blade left standing, and Toy is pinned in the corner here over by Monster Canal, just waiting for his team to make a move. I mean, Silent is in water as well. I think at this point they're just using Blade as a decoy to try and pull players back, but he's just one man and he's only got a Tech 9. So Seb kills him quickly. There's no reason for them to rotate off that kill. Blade, though, is still in position. He's now ran up long, and he's going to move back towards mid bathrooms. They have actually pulled someone over, so Neptune is grouping up with them as they get set for what appears to be a take towards B eventually. 38 seconds left. Rush still hasn't made their move, but it should come in just a moment here. They have a little bit of utility to work with as well. So a couple of flashes, and the smoke, and now they've actually found themselves an M4, which might be pivotal to getting into the site. First Molly's in, Silent leads the way. He actually had the M4, he dropped it off to Blade, but now Blade's the last man standing. They don't even get a single kill there. Really well held by Ghost.
Wardell specifically, man, is going off. It's like just going through the motions for him at this point. Op shot, and then follows it up with the 5-7 to spray down there to be able to close down on that round. Really great stuff from him, and a good showing overall from Wardell to possibly push him up to the Pro League finally. So 7-4. Obviously, Rush still had a little bit of cash build up from the beginning of the half, so they aren't going to be completely forced into a double save there. They do just buy in after that one save, and now they're back up to full power. Wardell trying to test the waters, though, missing that shot, and now has to get the heck out of here. There's a 4-man push working its way towards Fountain. He's definitely not going to survive if he stays there for any longer.
Five AKs or 4 AKs and an AWP. Got so used to saying 5 AKs for the side of Rush, being as they were, force buying a lot. They're here with that op, so they saved up one additional time to get this AWP. That's what the whole point of that was. Full utility and the op after a force buy. It's really not bad for them. They've already got 4 rounds. So realistically speaking, if they can just grind out a few more, they're not in a terrible spot. I mean, yeah, Ghost has taken over to a certain degree here, but they're not necessarily in a corner here. Seb continuing that dominant approach to the map. He gets 2 more kills. Oh, I thought Wardell had Silent there as he saw the kneecap first, but it spun back on its head. It could be around here for Rush unless Connor can stop this one. Crondle even getting in on the action, and now it ends up in a 1-versus-1. It'll be Ruru versus Connor. That would be Heartbeat. As he leaps around underneath, he hears the bomb moving in towards this A site. Is Connor going to be able to get there in time to prevent Ruru from getting into better position?
Molly is going to push Ruru into the safe corner here, but Heartbeat probably really won't know that yet. He pushes up, spots him, but Ruru still follows. Excuse me. Ruru still follows through. Well, I had to sneeze. Ruru still follows through and wins out the round. So Rush will go up to 5.
There's that infamous clip where it sounded like you burped. And I'm pretty sure that was this map too. So now you've burped and sneezed during a live Overpass broadcast.
That was like a really weird lag or something. I made that happen.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I remember watching that back. That was really weird.
But yeah, either way, a 5th round for Rush. It's kind of what we were talking about, right? Like 5 rounds, they're already like kind of at the half line. This is where a lot of teams get on their Overpass halves for T side. So a few more, they can maybe break the money for Ghost. It's not out of the question to see this become like a 9-6 or even an 8-7 in favor of Rush if they can pull this off. Connor's going to play close, and he just dry peeks. He loses Neptune in the site as well, so that aggression, again, costing them 2 players early on. It makes the round that much harder for them. Crondle is in pit. He's throwing everything he's got out to try and delay it, and he does a pretty decent job, but the players from Rush are taking their time waiting for the rest of the team to join them as the smokes go down. Crondle's going to get a freebie as Ruru tries to go past the smoke with the flashes, but Crondle's in front of those flashes, so he doesn't even see him, and just like that, it's spun back again. How does it happen? Rush had a great opportunity on this B site. At one point, it was a 5-versus-3, and then it's a 3-versus-1. Just like that, Ghosts bring it right back around, and they reset Rush.
And so with that said, we end up 8-5 with Ghost having really great control over this situation. Rush are going to find themselves broken again, and completely broken for some of these players too. Toy and Blade sitting at just 1,600 between the two of them. So with Akis and the rest of the guys not looking too much better, they're going to call for a pause. I believe it's a relatively short pause though, so it should just go off in a second. This might just be sort of a mental reset time for Rush, just to kind of relax themselves a little bit and figure out what exactly is going wrong with these situations, and hopefully try to plan for the next gun round coming up after this one, as they are going to be forcing into it regardless.
So I think at this point it's safe to say the jig is up regarding the roster, because there's another match live currently for Ghost Gaming. So you can kind of put the pieces together. That's why B had to hightail it out of there, as Ghost had to field a very interesting mix of players to play in their ECS match for tonight and also compete here. Saturation. Don't you just love it?
I'm amazed they were able to. It's like they have 2 teams almost now.
Yeah, there's the A squad and the B squad. I mean, obviously, right now, Crondle is not a bad fill-in, and he's doing a decent enough job, and Ghost is having a pretty solid half. I mean, it's not like crazy good. It's not what we saw from them on Train, but it's what you would expect. Like I said, coming into this one, Overpass isn't an inherently strong map for Ghost, but I put these teams on more of an even playing field with this map. It's kind of like last night when we watched Enigma 6 and Rush play. Cobblestone was the more even of the two maps. Mirage was a blowout just because of how heavily it favored Enigma 6. But that's the problem that Rush has had all season long, right? Like, their map pool is not super deep. This is actually the map that Rush won to make it into ESL Pro League last season with amazing performance from Little Man. I think he dropped like 32 kills against Splice in the third map of that series. So, like, they feel confident on the map. And we are seeing some of that, but unfortunately the money is the biggest problem from right now. They've had to force and save so many rounds. But look at this. It's going to be a free pass. Speaking of reminding us of Cobble, looks like that save round where they just ran up mid last night against Enigma 6 and had a free pass onto that site. Where I was like, wait, how did they get into this A site?
Yeah, Seb's going to hear this, though, so they can still just basically set up for a retake, and it'll be full 5-on-5. And keep in mind, they're working with some pretty bad guns. At the very least, they'll get themselves the plant, and they can probably escape with a few kills. This is still a great round, regardless of the outcome of it. As we do start to see them get shut down, but still left into a 3v2. Still a decent chance for Rush to try and clutch this one out. Specifically, we do have to see Blade move his way in. Now it is just on Rue, though. But with an op, considering that this was essentially a full save round, might be better off just trying to run away with that one, and he gets decked at the very end of it by Neptune. Ghost still close it out with 3 alive, but like I said, considering what exactly Rush had there, it's not bad. It's certainly going to boost them up a little bit for this last round.
So they come into this round with very little, just a couple of AKs and 2 umps. The biggest problem for them has been that Silent was kind of the heavy hitter with the op in the past for the team, and they just haven't been able to afford it across both maps. It's been really hard fought battle with the cash. Seb feeling the round right now. He's going to get aggressive, and he might have a smorgasbord in front of him. He actually ends up falling empty-handed, but there's Wardell to get 1-2, make it a third. He's playing with his smoke. Oh my god, if he hit that shot onto Silent, that would have been crazy, but it's down to just 2. Silent and Blade versus 3 for the opposing force, and they've already brought players and siphoned them off of B to defend this A site.
Now for the last 2 on Rush, they are going to try to swing their guys up through long and get into the site, but Heartbeat already here to defend it. He has Neptune if Heartbeat goes down a little bit behind the fence over here. So Rush are certainly going to have this a tough time, and I think Heartbeat just saw both of them. That Molly misses, just ends up burning the top of the truck in all reality, and the teams do the same, but Heartbeat, oh my goodness, almost got shot in the back. I think he realized that Blade pushed out there at first, but thankfully stays alive anyway. And now this goes down to a 3v1 at the hands of Silent. A full minute remaining on the clock here, so while it does look like he's falling back to save, it's going to be a long time before he has... Well, actually, no, he wouldn't. Excuse me. It's 15th round. What am I thinking? He wouldn't save here, so he's going to fall back and probably swing down towards B. Let's see if he can make a bet for that site instead.
Might be able to make something happen here. He's got his trusty gun, the big green cannon known as the op. Crondle, believe Crondle heard the footsteps there, so...
He heard it, but he's not going to stop it.
I think he heard it, but then he's second-guessing himself. He's like, maybe I didn't hear it.
Well, he's going to know now with that smoke.
Yeah. I mean, that's the dead giveaway. So Silent will get the bomb down at least. There's no reason for him to really go for this. He can hold here. Silent has no idea he's in this position, which is the great play for Crondle right now. But Silent's already taken out one of his teammates, so it's going to be up to Crondle to try and make a play here as they know where the second man is, but now Crondle's made some noise, and Silent holds the line. It's a 1 versus 1 between Neptune and Silent, and he already knows where Neptune's at. Misses the shot, and that gives Neptune an opportunity. Misses the second as well. He's going to smoke the bomb. Neptune gets tagged. 9 HP for Neptune, but he's got the smoke down. Surely this can't happen again. Not again. Silent's not going to let that happen this time. It's a 6th round for Ghost, and it's a 4K for Silent, and it basically all started once he got that op.
Yeah, so Rush do manage to piece together that round at the very end of it. They bring it up to 6-9. At the very least, find themselves a somewhat decent T-side at half. Now, we need to see that follow through onto the CT side there, because if Ghost just comes in with some very direct strats that Rush are not going to be able to counter very much, kind of like what we saw back on the last map, then Ghost is ultimately still going to be able to shut this one down relatively quickly and take control of this 2-0. So we'll have to see what Rush will offer us when the players do get readied up and jump into the second half. But definitely a much more respectable performance from Rush that time.
Yeah, they looked a lot more solid on their T side here. I mean, just imagine what they could have done if they were able to chain rounds together more consistently. You know, what did we see? Like, we saw back-to-back ecos. I think we saw like 5 save rounds from Rush in that first half. So, you know, 1/3 of the rounds played in the first half, they actually had to eco, and they still get 6 rounds. That's really not that bad.
No, it's not bad at all. And overall, with the exception of like 2 players, Ghost actually kind of flatlined a little bit at the middle of that half there. We saw them kind of get some momentum on the first gunner and whatnot, but then they fell off a little bit, and that's where Rush was really able to move in and kind of secure those last few rounds to allow them to end up with this decent scoreline. It was mainly like Wardell and I think Heartbeat, right, that were doing most of the heavy lifting for Ghost, and besides that, we didn't really see a whole lot from some of the other guys comparatively to I think it was Seb, excuse me, not Heartbeat. That was one of the big fraggers. We can't see the score when we're between halves, unfortunately, so it's a little bit hard to tell unless you pull up the actual match page. But ultimately, besides those two, it seemed to kind of fall off quite a bit after you got past those guys, and we didn't see a whole lot of impact coming in from the others.
So now we wait. Maybe they're checking the scores of the ECS match. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the Reddit post. It was
it's awkward. It's so awkward. Like,
Ghost.
I didn't want to talk about it, but at the same point in time, like, it's got to come up. There's two games that live at the same time.
Ghost out here hustling like no other team is what the post said. So I think that's the one and only time you're gonna check HLTV and see two teams playing two matches, or one team playing two matches at the same exact time. So.
They just have a 12-man roster. No big deal.
I mean, there you go.
It's normal. Everyone agreed to
keep
take a
those
pay
reserves
cut.
in.
I mean, the interesting thing to me is the fact that they could actually field that many players. I'm surprised they were able to find enough players for that game.
Oh, who do they? I was looking at the ECS stream to try and see who they have. It's interesting who they ended up getting to fill in for them. I think they have Davey and Sanks on the roster, and then like one or two others as well that are playing.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
like it's Shot Up
Mitch,
who actually Shot Up who is a part of the team, sort of. Like, I don't know where his position lies with that team. And then they have Mitch, Davey, and Sanks as well. I think Mitch and Davey was playing with E United last season, playing with Mitch. And I think Mitch is now regrouped with his former Vault roster, which is like Mainline, Gramps, and those guys who are, I think, going to be competing in Premier next season. Sanks was playing with Muff and Lightning. I don't know where he ended up. It really is just kind of like a hodgepodge of available players that they got for that game.
Yeah, so, well, they managed to get together, though, at the very least, so they have that going for them. But it does look like we are live now with the second half, folks, so let's jump into it and see if Ghost is going to be able to keep their lead going, or if Rush still has a little bit of fight left in them. Initial great shot from Akis, but they're trying to take this battle at water, and that may not be the best course of action. Wardell takes down Blade. Heartbeat follows it up with one of his own, and he gets a second against Akis now. That's almost the entire site cleared out. Ruru stays alive, but only by the grace of going behind the big old wall. Toy finds one of the flank, gets a second, too. They're opening up an opportunity, but now they battled it back, and Wardell hits those last two kills to secure it for Ghost.
Great pistol round from Ghost as they, just grab that 10th round, which is what they should have had in the first half if they had not kind of botched that last round in the 1 versus 4. So it could have been 11-5 right now, but instead it's going to be 10-6. Pistols in play here for Rush. This is one of the few times we've actually seen them put a bit of force behind it, and I think they're just playing the map a bit more, and also the fact that obviously they haven't been doing them any favors. The round total is starting to pile up. They're going to stack this B site, which isn't going to go well for them, because just like Rush did in their anti-eco, they're going to go straight towards long with that bomb. No one wants to go towards B in these situations. Just too difficult to clear out all of these little corners, nooks, and crannies. So it's a decent idea from Rush, but in practice, I don't think it's going to produce much.
Yeah, and now Ghost will essentially just have an easy walk-on over to the A bomb site here now, since Rush took the gamble on it. Would have to hope that they can save up for the third round and have some better luck there, but while we do have Silent rotating over again, that's only one player. And the other 4 are still very much plastered down over onto the B site, and they may even have themselves a little bit of a fight too, since Wardell is still kind of down here lurking. So it is going to be a very awkward round, regardless of its outcome. But in a moment here, you're going to see Blade tries to swing out. Wardell gets himself the double before going back down. And Silent not even up on the site, currently just hanging out underneath of the bank. And we'll probably evacuate with the rest of his teammates in a second here.
Should be a pretty easy round for Ghost to close out. Akis is just going to hold on to this AK. That's a nice little gift from Wardell. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Toy has that 5-7 as well. Akis can drop the 5-7. Silent, sorry, bud. You're going to be back on a P250 next round, because you're the op and you have to save up as much money as possible. And that's kind of why he's playing more of an exit angle, because he realizes there is no value to this puny little handgun I've got before me. So he's looking for a player that will try to hunt down his team. He's going to now try and get away, and he should be able to get outside of the distance of the bomb. But this will help the next round just a little bit. We'll give them a little bit more firepower. Even Silent's going to upgrade to a 5-7. So we'll see Aegis throw that one away. He's going to give it to Ruru. Blade's the only one with the USP, so he'll be forced to work with that vanilla pistol. So it's really not terrible, all things considered. Even Silent spends a bit of money to get some armor behind his 5-7.
And they're going to be able to hold themselves pretty well in this round. More than likely, the AK obviously having itself the most effectiveness. And this time they actually get it onto the right site, too. They went for this big old stack again. I just had Silent push out solo to try and check for A. So they're going to know it's a 4-man stack. This could actually be a little bit dangerous. Moving in. Blade's looking the wrong way. All eyes on Aegis now to impact. Gets one. Gets two. It's been traded a lot heavily against him, however. So still holding downstairs and waiting for Silent to rotate back in. He's going to get caught throwing out that flashbang. So he does go down before he can pick up a third or any additional kills. And Silent it's a bit of an unfortunate fate. Decked down by Sev from on the site. And that will secure the 12th round for Ghost.
So they double up their opponent 12-6. Those saved guns didn't really do much for them. Seb's going to be rocking the Galil this round. So we'll see if that has an effect at all. No op for either team, so no Wardell versus Silent duel. No chance for that 1 versus 4 awesomeness that we saw from Silent at the end of the first half. And I'd love to see Ghost just kind of keep up this pace. This is what we saw from them on Train. When they played fast, I felt like that was when they were able to beat out Rush. It was when they played slow that they struggled. Right through mid is 7. It takes them a bit of time. That Galil, it certainly is a devious little bastard. Silent, though, has managed to creep behind the wall, and he's hiding behind the divider. I'm curious to see if they're going to peek it, given that they got that kill on Toy already.
And now Seb is going to push forward, looking for the kill against Ruru. He is going to be able to find that to the first entry, but still Silent. Once again in a position to try and save the day. Swinging out, catches the freebie onto Ruru. Still catches Neptune while recovering his gun as well, but he gets it out in time. He's able to trade out onto Silent. And now leaves Aegis and Blade left alive as the last 2 for Rush here. They do have a pinch possibility, so they're probably actually going to end up going for this, considering that. Aegis has like a lot of utility too. Problem is Neptune waits for Aegis to cross that threshold. He will take him down without any response, and now Blade is certainly going to be looking to save, not carelessly fight for this 1v4 any longer.
Blade at least holds on to his M4 just a little while longer, but now the players from Ghost are hunting him down. He's in a decent position to get one at least going up over top. If they both jump out, though, that's when things get difficult, and there it is, exactly what we said would happen. Both players time the jump. They lose a couple additional AKs, but I don't think they really care. They've put themselves within closing distance. Just 3 rounds now, separating Ghost Gaming from making Pro League and Rush from being relegated back down to Premier again after everything this team worked for. It would be really unfortunate to see it go down like this. Honestly, I don't know if the team would survive.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough times for Rush to see if they'll end up carrying it through, or if this is just gonna end up being their last hurrah at this event. But for Ghost, sending their players pretty much directly out towards long this time around. Aegis is going to be hanging out inside of the top portion of the bathroom connector. You can get one with the P250, but doesn't end up happening. Ruru has some better luck with it, though. The CZ God, as we saw back on the last map, playing 1 kill with it. Now already down to 16 bullets. They'll have to do a whole lot more if they want to have a chance of winning out this round. Tries to swing in, gets an additional pickup there, up to 2 now. Teammates also try to jump into the action, but unfortunately they don't find nearly the effectiveness. Still Ruru, the solo killer, and he may have himself the 3rd kill in a second. He gets it. Out of ammo now, but he's found his upgrade to an AK and just barely escapes into those bathrooms. I think, however, considering what's about to transpire, he would have tried to fall back to save, but Seb knocks him out anyway. So again, down to Silent in a 1v2 scenario and immediately taken out as soon as he peeks into the open.
So this is pretty much it if you're Rush. I mean, this is the end here. They're going to get the op. They're going to spend every penny they have to field the strongest possible buy to prevent what at this point almost feels inevitable. This is one thing we talked about at MDL. You know, you feel like we watch so many games where it's like 15x and we see a comeback until it's 16-13 they lose. It's like you're just delaying the inevitable. Not that it's there's anything wrong with trying to field a comeback. But we watch so many games, and it's so frustrating to see so many teams get so close to bringing it back, only to lose that 1 round. Here, though, Rush get off to a great start. Ruru is going to get the opener, and that's Seb going down. Another kill coming in for Rush, so they're not out of this one yet. They've got a great crossfire as well, with Toy already playing up towards Party. They've got Ruru now coming around the corner. A dink shot on the man who is hiding in the corner. That's Connor. Players transcending into this position. So just like that, we see Ghost get cut down quickly. Not even one casualty is all they're going to get. So a really solid round for Rush. They spent every penny they have, and they survive with 4. That's what they need if they're going to even stand a chance at bringing this back.
Yeah, so there's the foundations of it. And the good news is, too, is Ghost are working with, like, a really odd amount of cash right now. Looking for, specifically, Wardell, who just buys for himself instead of relying on a team drop, which I don't even think he... Oh, yeah, no, he does get the op dropped over towards him, so he has that going for him at the very least. But I think Crondle has to downgrade to a Tech 9 because of that. So they're already on the cusp of being broken. Rush could still get back into this game now. It's just a matter, again, like I've been saying for a lot of these 2 maps so far, it's just a matter of consistency. They can't win 1 and then immediately drop 3 more after that, especially under these circumstances here. So they are going to have to make sure that they do kind of lock it down from this point forward. And we see a good performance from them to try and run the comeback. Ghost, however, are starting to set up now for a straightforward B execute. There's a great cross spray set up between Aegis and Blade here at Monster, but no smokes are covering it, so they have full vision moving in. Aegis hits the first kill, traded out by Seb, and Seb also transfers that over to Blade. Now they've opened up their opportunity to get over towards this B-bomb site. They're not fully committing just yet, which is giving time for the Rush players to try and rotate back down. They don't fully commit to it, though. Bit of an awkward exchange there. Gets tagged down a bit, and then just casually swings over to eliminate Seb. The molly pressure and smoke pressure from the CTs is going to be enough to force Ghost back, but it's also setting themselves up in a pretty good pattern to hold this 3v3.
Oh, Connor just guns them down. Ruru and Toy were in position, and again, it will be up to Silent, and there's really not much of a chance here. Tries to drop the smoke down and get the defuse. Not really surprised that Connor's the man to pick up the 3K there in the clutch. Look at the top 3 for Ghost Gaming. 26 for Seb, 20 for Connor, 22 for Wardell. Silent did what he could in a few rounds in that first half when he was actually able to afford his op, but it was mostly Ruru who was chiming in with consistent performances in each round. So it's now Ghost Gaming. They've got Rush against the wall. It's going to be Umps and M4 and just a lowly P250 for Toy. This could be the end. I hate to say it, too. Love the guys from Rush. I wish them the best of luck, whatever happens in this one. Blade getting the opening kill onto Crondle, but it's immediate trade out as Wardell picks off Aegis in the water position. He was trying to push up into that short canal. The bomb now just sitting back by T stairs. As they fall back towards A, they don't realize that there's really only one player playing towards B right now. That's actually Ruru, who's in water as well. The rest of the team kind of floating between both A and B.
Well, it may not be set and matched just yet with Rush still having this aggressive control. Silent needs to be so careful, though. Works out, gets the first kill, almost gets himself a second. That's Neptune now down at 10 HP because of his firing. So it leaves it into a 3v3 with 3 very injured Ghost players. When you look at both Seb and Neptune, I should say 2 of them are injured. But they have lots of utility to use still. Rush is kind of looking a little bit low in that regard. So Ghost still has a chance to shut this one down, and plenty of time as well. Still 50 seconds remaining on that clock. They will split the remaining 3 players, having Seb go off on his own to try and make some noise over towards A. Problem is in a second, well, Toy's actually outside. I thought he was sitting in the bathroom watching for a split down the connector. So he may not actually catch Seb just going through it, unless he gets really good timing on this peak. Even so, though, Ruru may just be able to catch Seb. Anyway, when he goes downstairs, for the other 2, they are crossing that out tunnel now. They don't actually catch Ruru, who's just up on top of it. They're not able to see his feet or anything, so he gets away scot-free, and it's probably been called to Seb that this is actually open right now, while the other 2 are going to push into the site. Ruru should be able to easily secure that kill, and now get himself an upgrade to an AK, so it's going to be a 2v3 post-plant for the guys on Ghost.
Oh, this nade right in the sight, it just lands. Perfect timing. So they screwed themselves with the clock. Wardell has to run out past the smoke they threw down to try and plant as the bomb flew out from Neptune. Bomb physics are fun. It just kind of spilled out into Catwalk. So they kind of screwed themselves with the clock there. They played themselves, taking just too long to try and get into a site. And as a result, Rush are not out of this one yet. It's going to take 7 straight rounds for them to tie this one up. Just in case your math is not as keen as mine. You know, I'm really good at that addition. So Seb and company working with the pistols. Tech 9s, P250, and a Deagle for Crondle as well. And they're just going to run straight at them, going right towards mid. They actually take a shot right off the bat from Toy's AK, dropping Crondle down to 62, but they still push this fight forward. They're Silent. He's at the bottom of connector with his op, holding down the door. The smoke goes down to prevent them from pushing past it. Ruru is in the site as well, watching for the push that's going to be coming towards long in just a moment.
Ghost already losing one of their own, but yeah, indeed, there's going to be this big old long push working its way in. Ruru still trying to hold from behind the dice box here. He's going to find himself in a very chaotic situation. Call with an Ana too. Toy's there to bail him out, but Ruru goes down without getting any kills at all. Now they'll start to move in, trying to flood this out, but it's really not paying off for them. Silent and Toy find those last 2 kills, and Rush do secure themselves in on 6 more to go, and we'll end up in overtime. Ghost will also more than likely have to end up saving here.
So it should be double-digit rounds here. Like this should be a 15-10. This should be a full save from Ghost. I honestly don't even see the point in buying a P250 at this point. Just get this round over with. It's a throwaway. Maybe you can get the bomb down if you stick together. But they're going to be running right into the face of Toy, who's trying to get in position to prevent them from crossing. He sees them at the very least, so he knows where they're going. The nade over the top is on the mark. Does some damage, rings some ears. And Silent now is going to fall back to try and defend this A site. They've got Toy still here watching bathrooms, but they're just going to keep going right towards Long. They're going to try and get past him if they can. That's 1 for Silent, 2 for Silent. Come on, keep going. Don't disappoint. Throws the molly down. That'll be 3 for Silent. Is he going to get a 4th with a pistol? Nope, he's going to go back to his op. He can't spot him now. His own molly is making it difficult.
They still need to make sure that they have money for revives in the following round, so I think that's actually pretty smart that he doesn't just kind of aimlessly go out and pick up a few kills there. Just lets his teammate get a piece of the pie at the very end of it. He's happy with a nice little 3K versus doing you get that 10th round though with no losses at all. So it is great for them to make sure that their money stays strong and they don't have to make any sacrifices going round to round here as they basically just try to grind their way up to 15. Ghost though going to be back into the buy. They do kind of force the issue a little bit. Their utility is not that great. 4 smokes. They managed to get Wardell on an op, but only 1 molly. They're not really going to have a whole lot of pressure to force Rush out of these default spots, which can be a real pain if you try to go for like a direct contact play, which may be exactly what Ghost is trying to look towards on this round.
Oh, Silent with the fast move early on in the round, taking down one of the top performers for Ghost. That's a brutal kill and a huge loss for Ghost right off the bat. So a fast play from Silent, taking us back to his glory days there for a moment with that op shot. And now you can see Ghost is like, okay, well, what do we do now? That was our man Catwalk. That was one of our setup guys for the round. We've now lost him. How are we going to play this one out? They seem like they're still going to go for this B play as they're getting set up for the smokes and flashes. Neptune getting ready to jump throw. Crondle is here watching for that push that could come through, but there's 2 players waiting for them with loving arms on the other side of the Monster Canal. So at this point, it feels like Ghost is just baiting out utility, but the biggest problem is that Toy has already pushed up in mid, so at this point, the jig is up. All Ruru has to do is peek connector, and they know exactly what's about to happen.
Well, now Ghost are going to toss in their mollies to start to move in. The thing is, there's that setup again. They did only get really 1 kill last time, but this time they have a pop flash to support it, and it appropriately completely destroys the Ghost hit. Ruru is going to swing in here, get the back headshot against Wardell, and shuts that round down. Nicely played from Akis. And the pop flash support is very much welcome this time, as it does actually allow that setup to work.
That was a fantastic pop flash, too. With the position that Akis had, I was worried that he was actually going to get flashed by it, so he just kind of skated up onto the corner, and the flash came through, and everyone was blind. It landed perfectly, like, right at the end of the canal. No one could see anything, and he just gets a lineup spray of 3. So it's back down to pistols again here for Ghost. They're hitting a bit of a wall, struggling to close this game out, falling into the same traps that we saw Rush fall into in that first half. Can't get their money in order, can't afford everything they need for the rounds, and Jesus, Blade lines up 3, doing his best Akis impersonation, but Akis says, well, you left 2 on the table there. I'm going to scoop those ones up. 12 rounds now for Rush. They're down just 3.
And now, well, Ghost will have themselves another full buy here, but again, they seem to have, I think as you were saying, they kind of hit themselves a wall, and now, seemingly out of nowhere, Rush is just absolutely crushing whatever Ghost throw at them. Just look at the money. That should speak for itself. Everybody except for Blade is rich right now. 5.4k for Rue, but the other 3 are sitting over 10k post-buy, so they've got plenty of money to toss around in the event they should require that. But meanwhile, on the Ghost side of things, they're taking a much slower route this time around here, as they do hold their players back inside of the playground, the upper halls, and then back downstairs as well. Seb is going to be just going to be hanging out outside of Monster in the event Rush try to push, which is a high likelihood, so Seb's position might work out great for him. He's definitely spotted pressure. He's got to be careful those are about to push him. Tries to swing back, but it's too late. Blade's already shut down Seb, and now they have full control downstairs and should just be able to rotate up.
Yeah, they've still got 4 players here, so there's still plenty for them to work with, and they've got the op for Wardell, and they've got Connor alive still. It's a pretty big piece of the puzzle right now. Working up mid, they've got to concern themselves with the player who's lurking in connector stairwell. That'll be Toy, who's holding the top of the stairs, Ruru holding the bottom. Both these players now trying to push aggressively. Oh, this could backfire so horribly. With Ruru pushing past, they're actually going towards this A side. Ruru is going to be so disconnected from the play once it finally comes through, and even Toy is in a great position to play this one out. So now they're going to be able to take this site, and Akis gets caught looking the opposite direction, trying to prevent the push from long. This is not good right now if you're Rush. Everything was going so well for you, but that's a huge loss on the site. And they're going to be able to get the bomb down as well. Molly on top of the smoke. They still get the bomb planted just as the molly comes down. Wardell picks off one more. It's Toy, Silent, and Ruru left trying to hold on to this Pro League spot. And now just Ruru. And like we said, so disconnected, at least stab. But it seems like this should be it. Moving in from long, 3 players in front of him. Great pop flash to open things up. He's got another one right in front of him. It's Crondle behind the boxes, but he's got Neptune backing him up. The position could not work out better for Ghost. And that's going to be it. Ghost Gaming have made it into the ESL Pro League. And unfortunately for Rush, it's back down to Premier.
And it is going to be a whole new season with all new teams taking up those slots. We'll have no repeat teams from the relegation. No one is going to be able to save their slot. So it is going to be Enigma 6 along with Ghost Gaming that claim the 2 relegation slots, along with our normal move-up team who plays first place in Premier as well, and will also be sending their way up. But that does set it up, and again, very straightforward set. Rush kind of, like we were saying before, kind of coming alive at the end of this last map, but I think that was much more by the graces of Ghost kind of hitting a wall and the pressure getting to them a bit, so they started making quite a few crucial mistakes, like running into those setups outside of Monster and Wanda. They were able to deal with it one round, but the second round, where the CTs actually used a pop flash for it, went much, much better for them. Overall, though, Ghost still are able to hold on, and they take it 2-0, claiming that final slot in Pro League. And I believe that is going to do it for us here at the relegation event. Bach, of course, will be back on Saturday for the Cologne qualifiers. But anything else you want to say before we do shut the stream down here?
No, just a great game from Ghost Gaming. Really promising young teams coming into Pro League next season between them and Enigma 6 and also Splice. It'll be interesting to see if we again have a few teams that can hang. Like last season, we had 3 teams come in from Premier. 2 of them did not get relegated. One of them almost qualified for LAN. Like, I don't know where Misfits finished, but LG almost qualified for Pro League finals. They were in 7th place. They had like one. Yeah, I think they were 13 and 11. I don't remember. The record gave them one more win, would have pushed them into that 6th place tie, and I think they would have won the tiebreaker as well. So, I mean, good performances last season from the Premier teams outside of Rush. I'm excited to see what these new guys are going to do as well.
Well, that is going to shut things down for us right now, guys. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
This is your chance to actually make it into the Pro League, be a professional Counter-Strike player.
That's the thing that Mountain Dew League provides.
Kinguin, you know what? If anybody has a shot at 2-0, it's Kinguin. Beautiful Counter-Strike. You usually only see that into the professional level of things.
We are one of the youngest team in top 20. many teams can underestimate us, and we can surprise them with our tactics, show our Polish power.
Start your esports career now at play.eslgaming.com.